Welcome back, writers. I hope you're doing well. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into what would be the first paragraph of the body, or paragraph two of the whole writing. I know that can be a little confusing, but it's the first paragraph of the body, or some people call it the second paragraph. But what we're going to do is we're now going to decide on what we think is a good topic to write on. Now, you're going to take a look at these topics, and you got to ask yourself, which one of these topics should I choose? Because I'll probably write 5 sentences for this, 5 sentences for that, and 5 sentences. And this will again be like the body of the writing. Now, you got to ask yourself which one of these one moment, 2 moments, or 3 moments that will find the most success for you with writing. Now, do keep in the back of your mind that if you start to write about one of these and you run out of information that you think you can really remember on all those details, then what you're going to want to do is you'll probably come back to one of the other two. But in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this, which is England for my son's graduation. Now, make sure you go and open up inside of Schoology what will be this one, your personal narrative paragraph number 2. And the small moment that I'm going to be talking about here is just what I showed you. So I'm going to erase that, and I'll make this bigger so you can see. And that was this right here. Now, what we're going to do here, you can see that there's what happened, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will end up being my paragraph. Now, what I'm going to start to do so that I can write something really good, I'm going to start to brainstorm descriptive things that are inside of it. Or, as we wrote about in our first one, we're going to start following a sequence right here. We're going to follow a sequence, the structure, beginning, middle, and end, and use transitions. So we're going to start jumping into the who, what, when, where, and why. So who was there? So the people that were there, and I'm just going to brainstorm this down. I'm going to say, son, his name is Luke. There was my wife, whose name is Julie. There were a group of people, PEO, people dancing. Now, I'm just going from memories. There was a DJ. Okay. Now, those are the people that were there. Where were you? Now, I was in a group of people dancing to 70s disco music. Now, notice how I got a little bit more detailed. When did it happen? This event happened on New Year's Eve 2018 in the city of London, England. Now, what I am going to do now is I sort of got 1, 2, 3 things that I can talk about. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about what happened. So I'm going to take this first sentence right here, and even though it's a small moment, I'm going to take this and rewrite it into a more, into a sentence that will link these other sentences. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start off when did it happen? I'll say, in 2018, our family went to England to celebrate my son's graduation from high school and my graduation with a master's degree. So what I did there was I grabbed what this was here because I thought it would be smart to put that first because when did it happen sets up a sequence. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is who is there. I'm going to describe it, as a family went to have dinner and people were dancing to 70s music. So notice how that is a second sentence. Notice how there's a sequence. I talked about this. We as a family. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about what happened, what we were doing while we were dancing. And I said, where were you? I was in a group of people dancing to 70s music. That was right here. Now I'm going to get a little bit more descriptive, and I'm going to just sort of use these to guide me to sort of refresh my memory. And so I'm going to use a sequence word. Next, while dancing, my wife swung, while dancing, comma, I swung my wife around and my son danced in a circle while laughing with happiness. So now I'm going to go to the next part of a sequence. Well, what did we do? I'm going to start talking as the night went on. Now that is a transitional phrase right there. It's a sequence, like first, second, third, fourth. Notice the word as the night went on says a timing of how something happened. As the night went on, more music played and we celebrated by dancing for 3 hours with joy, because I want to express how important it was. And then I put an exclamation mark to show an emphasis. Next up, I'm going to talk about how there was a countdown for the end of the new year. Finally, midnight approached, and there was a countdown to the new year, and we all hugged because of the fun we were having. Now, that in itself is a full paragraph. 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, 4 sentences, 5 sentences. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first sentence, highlight it, copy, come over here. Where it says type here, I'm going to erase that. I'm going to do that first sentence. I'm going to come back over, get the second sentence. Go back up, connect it after the period. Looks good. Going to go to the third sentence, connecting it. Go over here. Make sure that I'm past that period, 2 spaces. And I'm going to show you something in 1 second. I'm going to show you a common problem that many of you do. Sentence 4. Come over here. Go back. Make sure. Now, some of you actually will copy and paste it right there. Right there. After that period, you have to put 2 spaces. That is the rule. Okay? Because if it's like this, it looks funny. That spacing, which you all have seen in books and papers that you've read, is very common. And I also made a mistake right there. There we go. Now, that's my final paragraph. Now, what I am going to do is double space, paste it. Now, I'm going to make this bigger so it's easier for me to read when we go and read it. So what I'm going to do is continue to make this bigger. I'm just going to fit it on there. Let's see. That looks pretty good. Let me make this smaller so I can see all of it. Okay. And there were some directions right there. Now, what I'm also going to do is right there, I put the cursor right there because I'm going to indent, and I can do two ways. I can hit the space bar 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I'm going to go back, or I can just hit the tab key, T-A-B, on my computer and watch. Boom, it does it for me. Now, over here, my directions are reminders. Capitalize all the first words of sentences and proper nouns. Correct any misspelled words if they have a red line underneath. I'm looking. I don't have any underlined. Reread your paragraph and place into Grammarly. In 2018, our family... Now watch how quick this is. In 2018, our family went to England to celebrate my son's graduation from high school and my graduation with a master's degree. We, as a family, went to have dinner, and people were dancing to 70s music. Everything looks okay. Next, while dancing, I swung my wife around, and my son danced in a circle while laughing with happiness. Notice that transition right there. As the night went on, more music played, and we celebrated by dancing 3 hours with joy. Here's another transitional word. Finally, midnight approached, and there was a countdown to the new year, and we all hugged because of the fun we were having. So now what I would do is I would take this, highlight it, copy it, come over to Grammarly. I'm going to put it into Grammarly. And let it make some suggestions. Okay. I'm going to start with a new one. Close this out. We're going to paste it. Grammarly is going to scan it. Give it an overall score of 84. It says there might be a suggestion. Instead of with happiness, they're saying I should just use the word happily, which is the same thing. Okay. Now, I got some other things it wants me to correct, so I'm going to go over here, and I don't think I can. What they're saying by showing all these ands is that they're saying that I should probably use some other word than and, rewrite my sentence to make it sound like I'm not using the word and so much. But for right now, it's good enough that I'm going to copy this, go back. I'm going to highlight this and delete that one, and now paste what I just did. And then I am done with paragraph number 2. So good luck to you, and get going.